follow the captivating tale of a girl who spices up a guy's life with daily adventures in sex appeal. Join us for a recap to uncover the twists and turns as they navigate fun, complexity, and unexpected connections.
Today we are heading out to recapping the film Sex Appeal. The film opens with Avery Hansen White, an overachieving secondary school understudy who succeeds at her assets, yet stays away from exercises where she feels out of place, regardless of her record-breaking GPA. What's more, early acknowledgement to MIT she has little interest in prom or having quite a large number companions the current year's STEAM difficulties. Avery to plan an application. Tackling an individual issue after school, she meets up with Larson, her young life closest companion. What's more, regular science analyzed subject, however. He comes up short on enthusiasm for STEM. Their organization closes when Larson attempts to kiss Avery, and she punches him, all things being equal. However, connections don't appeal to her. Avery, as a long-distance beau, Casper, whom she met at a past STEAM Conan, when inquired as to whether she'll bring him to prom, Avery says prom isn't a need for her. Elson attempts to verifiably convince her to go to prom with him, yet she dismisses his proposal at home. Avery acknowledges she has no shortcomings in the wake of conceptualizing approaches to further develop her life. Not long after her beau Casper video calls saying he needs to take their relationship to the next level. When they meet at STEAMCon, Avery panics and quickly closes her PC, as sex is the main subject she doesn't know anything about, raised by her three mothers, Susie, eminent craftsman Deb, and reward mother Kim. Avery has nobody to prompt her on sexual issues with men. She tells Susie about Casper's goals and her own considerations about engaging in sexual relations later. Susie exhorts Avery that sex ought to be untidy, flawed. Getting back to her room, Avery chooses to make an application to help ace sex and guide her through her first time with Casper. She started by programming the man-made intelligence and fostering the calculation, yet before long acknowledged she really wanted more information from true analyses. The following day in sext class, the educator would not help, so she moved toward her mother Susie again, who offered her books like 50 Shades of Dark, yet she declined them. Rather, her mother proposed meeting schoolmates for bits of knowledge. She began by asking the team, promoters, artists, and competitors. However, they needed experience. They encouraged addressing well-known understudy Danica Malum, who later school gave subtleties on inclinations. What's more, finding a training accomplice. Promptly, she requested that Larson meet at her home day to day, befuddling everybody. However, at first denying, since he owed unwaveringness to companions and had a squash. Her tirelessness wore him out, and he concurred to try once more, notwithstanding having a new squash. Lars and Avery show up at his room, where he is told to follow a pre-composed convention. Prior to starting, Olsen states that affection makes a decent, darling, be that as it may. Avery differs. She trusts love also. Sex are isolated. Avery then tells Lars to kiss her, which he does, and he plays music to make climate they nestle, while paying attention to the melody, until Avery requests that he move his hand under her shirt. Interestingly, Avery feels huge joy being moved by a man, be that as it may. Lars goes excessively far, and she leaves at home. Avery keeps fostering in calculation for her application. The following day, Avery interviews colleagues and visits a potter to find out about male life systems. Subsequent to acquiring information, she can't try not to see it all over. Avery gets back to Elle's place, saying she needs active experience, true to form. He licenses her to completely analyze him. The scene unexpectedly moves to Elle's job, playing as a space explorer getting ready for takeoff. While Avery fills his fanciful space apparatus after a sensational commencement, Lars imagines the boat launches and cheers enthusiastically. He offers to return the favor. However, Avery gets saying wrong. She really wants to investigate exploratory information since the mission was a triumph. Acknowledging there are holes in her exploration, Avery visits Dana, who instructs her anxious companion about self-delight, recommending she picture her crush heeding this guidance. Avery gets back furthermore, goes directly toward the restroom, utilizing the shower head to jerk off the water, becomes awkwardly hot, and she needs to press a virus pack between her legs. Elson calls for, warning her not to overthink normal inclinations. However, Avery changes points, proposing telephone sex. Olsen attempts different provocative subjects prior to hitting on scholarly interests that at last stimulate her. She was partaking in the discussion until Lars referenced her winning STEAMCon. Abruptly, Carlson seemed holding the prize, which destroyed the state of mind. 8 days before STEAMCon, Avery had a go at meeting a few cohorts during math class. One cohort Blunt talked about erogenous zones in realistic detail, until a lady in the back, Mara, arbitrarily presented to exhibit this occupied the instructor, yet The understudies masked the grown-up theme as math satisfying him. In the meantime, Mara went on, until she came to a peak and shouted in joy, "Later, class." Larson and Avery rushed to his spot to rehearse what she had realized. Larson went about as a traveler, plunging into a bright, tight passage, incidentally contacting the walls. This excited Avery, until he tracked down an entryway that magically transported them into a swimming scene, charming her. She chose to name her application Sex Advance. Elson needed to raise things. However, Avery demanded they stay proficient and center around the tests. Frustrating him, he then, at that point, speculates that science is accomplished, at the point when love meets sexual stuff and bad habit versa. However, she differs, expressing that love doesn't have anything to do with sexual encounters. Avery incorporates every one of the information, lastly completes the application on time. The prior night's SteamCon, Larson approaches Avery and requests that she go to the science exhibition hall with him. However, as expected, she declines the greeting. He questions her sentiments towards him since they have been doing a great deal of stuff together. However, her responses dishearten him, so he chooses to go there alone. Notwithstanding having 2 tickets the following day, Avery acknowledges she feels something else towards Lars, yet denies the sentiments after Casper's show. They promptly head to the lodging and the pair begins doing stuff by following the idea from her application. Anyway, Avery abhors the occasion as she did with Elson. Even later, following all the bearings, not long after she chooses to stop and leaves the room. As of now, she understands she has experienced passionate feelings for Larson. The accompanying morning, Avery pulls out her show since she realizes the application didn't work for her, so she strolls off the stage in tears. This prompts Casper's program triumph in the rivalry that evening. Avery visits Larson, who has become tired of her bogus guarantees. He expresses that he's finished sitting tight for her to adjust her perspective on him. Elson acknowledges Avery could do without anybody, particularly him, so he's happy he didn't lay down with her considering their meeting. Avery at long last accepts love and sex are entwined. The following day, Kim proposes Avery talk from her heart and be straightforward with Lars. Avery interferes with Lars's music practice and concedes he was correct about affection and sex anyway. This simply makes her look silly also. Lars should accompany her out. Avery uncovers her actual sentiments, yet it's as well late. Lars has continued on. She asks him to prom. However, he denies, uninterested in the end. Avery proclaims her adoration. However, Lars leaves peacefully while crying alone. An educator moves toward her and grants a day-to-day existence, example that elevates her spirits at prom. Elson moves cheerfully with his crush as Avery watches from a remote place alone once more. This time, however, Avery acknowledges that a few things can't be constrained. What's more, tracks down satisfaction in his bliss. I assumed I stilling. Okay, God, how could I end up this way? Believe I'm getting utilizes.
And that's a wrap. How did you enjoy the recap? Kindly let us know in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe for more recaps like this one. Thanks for watching. We will see you on the next one.